Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye, but See It Today. I reviewed a 1950 film. Okay. Um, Told mostly in flashback, Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye starts in a courtroom. Prosecutor asks jurors to look at the 7 defendants on trial for murder or accomplice to murder. He calls them 7 evil people and describes them as at war with decent people and society as a whole. The evil of some of them is especially awful because 2 were police officers, 1 was a cop, and 1 was a prison guard. But he also notes that the most evil man of all isn't present, but he's there in spirit since he put into motion much of the evil. So most of the story is told in flashback. We go into flashbacks after that. The wicked doings began some 4 months prior to the court proceedings with a prison break. Ralph Cotter, played by James Cagney, and Carlton, Neville Brand, played by Neville Brand, break out from a prison farm with the aid of a prison guard, one of those people on trial, Peter Cottet, played by John Halloran. And during the break, Carlton is injured, and rather than being slowed down, Ralph Cotter cold-bloodedly puts a bullet through his friend's head. The prison break was aided by gangster Joe Jinx Rayner and Holiday Carlton, who was played by Barbara Payton. Holiday believes Ralph when he says her brother was killed by a prison guard. She's naturally devastated with grief and has no idea that she's sitting next to the man who actually killed her brother. Okay. Anyway, Ralph shows up at Holiday's apartment, and we learn that Holiday is not an evil person. I never did one wrong thing before today, she tells Ralph. Contrary to him, she played by society's rules until love for her brother led her to break them. Although he'd been convicted of a homicide, Holiday was certain he was no killer and that he'd been railroaded. She feared he would end up in an insane asylum if he stayed in that prison, so she tried to get him out, which of course got him killed. Okay, Cagney is very sarcastic, and he makes a lot of, disparaging remarks. He was as innocent as a newborn babe. She throws a knife at him. The knife slightly wounds his ear, and he rubs the injury with a wet towel before brutally beating Holiday with the towel. I'm sorry, she shouts before falling into Ralph's arms. The 2 begin a passionate love affair, even as Holiday desperately tries to convince the man she loves to go straight, to leave the criminal lifestyle. Again, she's not really an evil person. She wants to do what's right. Okay, now, and then it goes, and there's, I have in my review that I put up at IMDb and Amazon, a few more things. And I think that part of what makes the movie so good, it's almost 2 hours long, but it never seems to drag, is that it has very good performances. James Cagney may have had equals in playing gangsters, but he had no superiors. Cagney knew how to impersonate a charming and vicious psychopath, and he's just as evil in Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye as he was in the more famous White Heat as the brutal Cody Jarrett. Okay, the other actors are also good too. Helena Carter is credible and somewhat sympathetic as Margaret Dobson, who is a kind of spoiled, rich young woman who's basically a good person, though she likes excitement and she has a tendency to go slumming. But she's basically a good person. Now, the major characters in the film are either usually psychopathic or good, but the most interesting performance and the best performance is that of Barbara Payton. She was inexperienced when she took on the role of Holiday Carlton. What makes her performance so worthy of praise is that her character is far and away more complex than any other in Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye. You have the bad guys, you have the good guys. What we have here is someone who's basically good, who intends to play by society's rules, but finds herself drawn into evil. First, her love for her brother draws her to evil, and then romantic love for a criminal draws her to evil. And then jealousy, outrage, and grief all lead to a kind of ultimate evil on her part. And Payton's performance was absolutely on target, not one false note. There's also a little bit of anti-establishment in this 1950 film, because it emphasizes that the criminals are not just the ones who are in prison. Some of them are the ones who are supposed to put the criminals in prison. It can be the people in authority who are secretly corrupt and breaking the rules. Okay, and anyway, I really do think that that's a good film. And another thing about the film is that there is a little bit of BDSM in it. This is a 1950 film, okay? But Holiday Carlton falls into Cagney's arms, or falls into Ralph Cotter's arms after he beats her with that towel, which does suggest that maybe she got turned on by the beating. He got turned on by the beating. I know that in real life, Barbara Payton was into rough sex. And there is a slight suggestion here of rough sex. I hope you enjoyed hearing that, and have a beautiful day.